Hi, have you ever asked yourself the question, am I a creative person? And if you're like majority of the people, then it's most likely that you have told yourself that you're not a creative person, which is quite sad because that's not true at all. When we ask this question to ourselves, oftentimes we tell ourselves, do I know how to, make beautiful drawings? Do I know how to write something new? Do I know how to create something out of nowhere? And it turns out that we tell ourselves, no, we can't. So we think that no, we don't have what it takes to be creative. But what if I tell you that that's not the case? That's not true at all. One big misunderstanding is oftentimes creative intelligence. We we think of this as a personality trait. We just associate creativity with people like writers, artists, you know, people like that. But that's not true because you and I, we all have creative intelligence. The right question we should ask is, how creative am I? Those people that we associate with creativity are usually the people with higher creative intelligence. Uh, but that doesn't mean they're the only creative people out there. So you and I, we can be creative as well. For example, if you can say that you have at least lied once in your life, which is more than 100% possible, then you can say you're a creative person, because lying is like creating something out of nowhere, a scenario that did not happen or that did not exist. So you can say, yeah, well, even something as simple as lying is a proof of creativity. Now, as I mentioned earlier, creativity is basically like a scale. So you can be uh, at the very end of one stick, or at the very end of the other side of the stick. So what happens is some people are low on creativity and some people are high on creativity. Now, how would you know that? How creative are you? For example, let's imagine that there is a piece of brick, and if I tell you that write down how many things you can do with a single piece of brick, and a highly creative person will be able to come up with lots of different ways. Some people will never, someone who is highly creative, they will be able to come up with as many things as you can imagine. And if someone is quite low on the creative intelligence, then they will probably have trouble coming up with two ideas. So uh, that's one of the things. And creative people are very good at coming up with ideas that doesn't exist already, or they're very good at creating something new, something out of thin air, from their mind. They're capable of seeing things that is not already there yet. So, for example, take someone like J.K. Rowling as an example. She is uh, one of the most known writers out there in the world, and she created this Harry Potter universe. It's something that no one had ever thought about, and it's something totally unique, something original she came up with from her own mind, and it blew up. It's such a wonderful world. It shows a level of creativity that is quite uncommon for majority of us. So that's one thing. One thing about creative people, as I mentioned, they know, they can see, they can imagine things that most of us can't. For example, right now, all of us, each and every one of us, we live in quite a beautiful world. Everything is quite simple, everything is quite easy. When we want to go to bed, um, it's quite easy for us. It's quite comfortable over there. If we want to go out there, maybe we want to go somewhere far, we can take an airplane. But if you go back to prehistoric era, 10, 20,000 years ago, it's possible that they didn't even have boats and nothing. So, but right now, throughout the entire history, up until this moment, everything that you can see around yourself, they they were possible. All of these beautiful creations that are around you, they happen because of creative people. They realize that, yeah, well, I have to do this thing, I want to do this way. um, a lot of the people, they would just say, okay, yeah, I'm feeling tired, let's just rest for a while, let's rest at the top of the tree, or let's just lie down on the ground and just rest. But a creative person would think about, well, how can I sleep a little bit more comfortably? So they probably came up with a more comfortable bed. A creative person probably thought about, well, I have to cross the river, how can I cross the river? So they came up with the idea of creating a boat. So creative people, highly creative people, are the people who has shaped everything around you that you see. And that's one thing, they're very good at coming up with things that doesn't exist already out there in the world. Now you might ask, well, if I ask myself the question how creative I am, and it turns out that I'm quite low on creativity, how can I improve my creativity? That's a very good question, which is, as I mentioned earlier, creativity is not a personality trait, which means it's like a skill you can improve. Of course, some people are quite natural at the things they can do. Some people can draw quite well with almost same effort as you, but they can draw much better than you. So there is a little bit of natural talent that exists in creative intelligence, but it is shown, it has been seen that the creative intelligence can be improved. For example, one thing that has been proven quite well is when somebody exposes themselves to wide varieties of different environments, they tend to be more creative. For example, if you grow up in a small town, then you have probably not seen that many things. But if you have grown up in a big city, then you have seen all these expensive cars, you have seen different beautiful buildings, stuff like that. You have exposed yourself to all these different creative ideas, these wide varieties of things. So these kind of things also help people to develop creativity as well. And another thing you can do is you can read quite a lot of books. You can take some walks. It is said that going out in the nature can improve creativity. And a couple of things the scientist has observed that can increase creativity. So there you go. If you believe you're not a creative person, don't back yourself up, because that's not true. You are creative. Maybe you are low on the creative side, but that doesn't mean creativity doesn't exist in yourself. You can be creative. You just have to use it. You just have to know how to improve it and how to use that creativity. And well, there you go. You will no longer have a depressing answer when you ask yourself, am I a creative person? Hope you all have a wonderful day after watching this video. Hope it helps, and please give us a thumbs up, like, comment, share, and subscribe would definitely be wonderful. Have a good day.